Hello guys, Dan here from the Gamers Hub, and today I'm bringing you a review of Assassin's Creed Unity. Now I'm sure most, if not all of you, are aware of the general concept behind Ubisoft's annual Assassin's series, and to be honest, Assassin's Creed Unity really isn't any different. Instead of playing a person who is sat using an Animus, you're playing as a person using the Helix system, which allows you to enjoy action-packed historical games. So yeah, you're playing as a person who's playing as a person in a game. How meta. Now I'm sure, as you would have guessed, Templars are still in the game, and so are Assassins. You are the Assassins, the good guys. And obviously the Templars are the ones who are the bad guys. And basically you have to go and search for items and secrets that both sides want in the modern day, which is why they're using the Helix machine or the Animus. And you have to go around discovering them. Now Unity still follows the same basic template like all the other series, which is, you're a guy playing a guy who's in an Animus, and he has to go around finding stuff, and then gets popped out of the Animus usually every so often, although it is slightly different in this one. And it sort of makes the storyline boring and predictable and unimmersive, though I would say it was unimmersive due to a number of other reasons, which we'll go on to in a minute. Which is sort of a surprise, because last year's title, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I personally didn't play, was said to be absolutely fantastic. Which, comparing it to this one seems, let's say, a little less fantastic. Now, pretty much from the get-go, bar 2 or 3 missions, you pretty much get free roam of the entire city. It means for the new protagonist, of whom you play the player of who's playing it, called Arno. Which means you can get to know the city, climb about, and obviously when you have missions, you can still actually pretty much leave the mission area and work your way around and see which way is the best position to come from. Which leads me on to missions actually having a much more openable approach. Before pretty much all of the assassination missions, it sort of gives you a view of what's around it and the options that you have. How many guards there are, how many entrances, how many hiding spots, and sort of all the little details, which is great. I mean, it basically means you can approach it how you want. Although at the beginning it did seem a little bit harder than the other series I played, which we'll also touch on in a second as well. Now, if you just decide to play through the main story, it sort of is a little dull. I mean, I pretty much done that, with doing a few side missions at the end and also some multiplayer. Multiplayer's fun. I'll get onto that as well. But yeah, if you just play the main story, it's not very excitable. Although you do meet Napoleon and other cool people, but ultimately you'll sort of find that you're underprepared for most missions. Although I found once you get used to how the AI attack you, it's actually rather easy. Because throughout the entire story, I didn't upgrade my weapons, any of them. I didn't have a new sword. I went from basically the really blunt swords at the beginning to the best endgame sword. Mainly because I couldn't afford to buy a new sword, and secondly because smoke bombs allowed you just to run away really quickly instead. And all the money I did have, I ended up spending on medicine, which goes up in price as you play. And when I mean as you play, I mean when you upgrade your health to be bigger, it means you must have to buy a bigger medicine pack, which means it costs more money. Makes sense in a way, but a little annoying. But it just meant I had to go around looting pretty much every single body I came across to try and get health. So it does get sort of hard, but not to the point where I thought, oh, I need these new weapons that they're actually saying that I should upgrade to. When actually, you could sort of just attack a few, throw a smoke bomb, and then, jet off. But of course, when you probably would do the side missions to try and bulk up and get some new weapons, it does add a lot of bulk to the actual story and game. But it also means running through parts of the city and down the streets that you haven't discovered yet to locations that you can't quite find, and I often kept on running past them. Meaning that you sort of have to tackle through the crowds. Also with the extremists who think it's a really good idea just to attack an assassin, even if there's just one of them. Why would you do that? He's clearly an assassin. He's clearly going to kill you. Why would you attack him? Oh, that's right, because they're extremists. So they got a little bit annoying. The blue coats, or the police, or whatever you want to call them, were not as aggressive. Although if the extremists did attack you and you attacked the extremists back, the blue coats would then kill you after killing the extremists. So, it doesn't really work. You're just better off running. Now, of course, if you don't run through the streets and you run on top of the buildings, that's a ton quicker. But it also exposes one of the biggest problems with Unity and its new parkour system. It's not something that you're likely to notice on the ground. The ground seems pretty much okay, besides the odd popping here and there with things sort of down the street popping up from out the ground. Mostly the crowds and people. But the parkour system of jumping, if you're on a roof, you're gonna notice it. I mean, it's nice that you can now hold a button to run down a building smoothly, instead of jumping off or climbing down backwards. You can sort of actually climb down with some sort of fluidity, or even though if the fluidity doesn't work sometimes, it still works to a point. But when you jump in the game from building to building, it doesn't look natural. I mean, all the other games, I can remember when you jump, it looks like your character's jumping, and this one, when you jump, you can clearly see that it's like locked into a certain position to then jump and do the whole sort of jump maneuver. Oh, and the fact that in mid-air, he can move to where he's going in mid-air, which isn't obviously right. You can't move direction in mid-air unless you get hit by something, which of course isn't very good. So yeah, you'll be jumping to something in front of you maybe, but instead, mid-air, he'll move to the left or the right to then grab onto something else. For example, I was jumping off a sync point where, you know, you can see the view around you, unlock the map, and I didn't jump off the right point on the bit of wood that has the hay barrow underneath, and I knew that I didn't jump off the right point. I was like, okay, probably gonna die because I missed it, I'll desync, swan back in. Not a problem. Instead, I jump off, and as he's falling, he swerves to the hay bale. Like, that's great that I survive, but I was blatantly gonna miss that. And I would rather have died and then reset to know that I'd done a mistake. Or if there was an opportunity on the way down, grab onto something, which there probably wouldn't have been because you dive. In that case anyway. So that was a bit weird. I mean, I know dying isn't good, but it looks a bit stupid if you guys sort of spinning in mid-air and moving. It really does feel clunky and unpolished, and they really should have spent a few more weeks on the game before releasing it to sort of just clean this all up, as it's definitely something that needs resolving. And of course, this is an age-old problem, which has been in all the series, and is still here in this series, where your assassin doesn't do what you want him to do. So at one point, which is on my video, I was escaping jail, and I was following the guy, Belek I think his name was, who was helping me escape jail. He jumped out the window. Me, though, my character, didn't follow him to jump out the window. He decided to grabbing onto the wall in the corner where you couldn't go anywhere. That was his preferred action than to jumping out the window whilst being chased and shot at. Now, I just thought maybe it should be the window that's the first option, not the wall. And it is really irritating, but I suppose it's all down to the actual situation. Maybe my camera was just slightly to the right, so he opted to climb on the wall that went absolutely nowhere. Which I don't even know why it's climbable, because it actually doesn't go anywhere. Some things never change. But one thing that has changed is the Out of Animus experience. I mean, they've changed it so much that you never actually leave the Animus or Helix experience. Instead, most of that sort of experience, if you can call it that still, is done with inside the game, where basically your game gets interrupted and hacked by a modern day assassin speaking to you on a webcam, and basically she just explains to you what she wants you to find and says, you know, you can do it if you want to, but of course it's not if you want to, you have to do it, because, you know, if you didn't do it then it would be a different storyline. So you don't have an option, you have to do it. There's some server scans and some security stuff, and they quickly have to get you out of the server so they're not spotted that they've been talking to you, or you're not spotted doing what they want you to do, which means they put you for a time rift, which means you're going to be in a different era, which I think makes no sense. I was trying to get into the story there for a second, the main story, and some modern day lady has popped up in front of me, told me I've got to jump through a time rift. I'm then in Paris climbing up the Eiffel Tower in World War II, shooting planes with a light machine gun. It doesn't even feel like it's the same game anymore, but it's supposed to be, but it's completely ripped the immersion out that I was trying to get from the actual main story, because it's just plonked me on the side of the Eiffel Tower for some supposed security threat that they had to do that for. Yeah, it's great shooting the machine gun, but I was trying to get into the story. It just feels so unnecessary. But another thing about the immersion is that I can't really complain about that too much, because the fact of the matter is, like in all the other games, bar I think Vaughn told me in number 2, where they did have some Italian accents, there isn't a single French accent in the game. When I first started, and you can see on my playthrough, I started to question myself, thinking, am I in France yet? Is this like a prequel bit where I'm in England because everyone is speaking the Queen's English and we're in France? But then I realised, when I listened to the AI and all the crowds moving about, that they spoke French. It was only the important and main storyline characters that spoke perfect English for all of us to understand, even though it's set in France. And probably what really ruined it is Napoleon was there, the most French guy ever, and he too spoke perfect English. I mean, at least give me a French accent or something. I mean, he's French, and we're in France. I mean, I know Vaughn said that the Animus had explained in the previous game that why it doesn't have people speaking in a native language. I mean, that's fair enough, but I just thought there would be just one or two French accents in France. They wouldn't just be all British English, you know? And actually, the more I think of it, I think the more Ubisoft's trying to just break the immersion of the game. I mean, you have to have a mobile companion app on your smartphone that enables you to access content you've actually already bought on your game, on your disc. It's on there, you can see it. You can walk up to a chest in the game and it won't let you access it because you need to download the mobile app and play the games on the mobile to help you unlock it in the main game. I mean, I don't understand. I can see the chest in my game, but you now want me to go to my mobile, providing it can even have the app, download it and then play it on there so I can unlock the chest and get exclusive stuff. Well, it's not exclusive. It's already on the disc that you've paid for. You should be able to just, there should be another way of accessing it. But don't worry about that, because Ubisoft has you covered there. They have lovingly given us in-game purchases and in-game currency to unlock the features for those who don't want to spend the time finding things or working towards a sense of achievement. Unfortunately though, you can't unlock the companion app secrets, which means you're basically just going to have to play by Ubisoft rules and download the app if you really want them. Although I believe there is microtransactions in the app, so there might possibly be a way. So, it's not all bad, Unity. I mean, the game looks really, really, really impressive. I mean, the rooftops. When I first played the game, I was staring at the rooftops for absolutely ages. I don't know why I was being so specific on just staring at the rooftops, but all the slate tiles, they look really good. And the building draw distances look really good as well. I mean, seeing Notre Dame in the distance, being able to climb up it with all the details, it looks really, really great. The interior also looks really good as well. I think it was the building, I'm not sure which one it is, but when you have to go and join the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, inside the church building you could see all the coloured glass glistening and it just looked really, really nice. However, the citizens walking about the street, they all tended to sort of look the same, and they popped up from the ground. And on one bit I found out that by moving my camera angle at these two people trying to fix this cart, which obviously they won't ever fix the cart because that's just, that's just a part of it. When I moved my camera angle around them, they changed clothes and faces. Like, they changed people when they would just rotate the camera around it. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. And in this one, I didn't play Black Flag properly, so I don't know, but you can't kill citizens. I know you don't want to kill citizens, I know you're not supposed to kill citizens, but the fact that in this one, you really can't do anything with them, and they sort of just get in your way most of the time, it sort of just makes them feel really hollow and not even there. I much preferred it when I had an assassination mission or fighting people in the streets and you accidentally kill someone. It makes them feel just that bit realer. And yes, you do lose health from it as a penalty, but at least you could interact with them somehow. So there may be the revolutionary force that toppled French monarchy, but in Ubisoft's creation, I'm pretty sure they'll be hard pushed to do anything. But onto the multiplayer, it is actually an enjoyable experience. It's a fun thing to do to climb around the city with a few of your assassin friends or strangers. Either one, it's still pretty fun, and it actually makes some of these side quests enjoyable playing with other people. Especially when you can, talk over tactics or decide who's doing what, or if they get in trouble, you can jump in and help them out. However, I don't think it's the sort of multiplayer I'd go and say to a friend, hey, you want to play Assassin's Creed Unity online for a bit? Probably not. I mean, if they happen to be online, or if I'm on and I just want to play with some strangers, it's good. It's fun. But if I want to play something really multiplayer, I'd probably opt for a different game on my shiny new console, such as GTA. Another great touch is to be able to change Arno's costume into different colours and ones from different games as well. If you played other games in Assassin's Creed, you can wear those outfits if they're linked with your Uplay on this game. Which sucks for me because I haven't linked any of them, which means I can't play as any of the other characters in any of the other games I played. Not that that's a big deal, it's just a bit annoying. You can also upgrade individual aspects of Arno's attire and basically create your own hero tailored to your ideal playstyle. It's clearly a way that helps to draw in multiplayer play and also balanced Assassin's teams. So hopefully not everyone you play with is the exact same playstyle. So although the customization is good, some of the options of customization are locked to online events which you have to play, again, ensuring that hopefully you will actually use these features that Ubisoft has created. So I could see why they've done it to try and push people to use the stuff more, but for me personally, I find it a bit of annoyance. So overall, Assassin's Creed Unity is a visually impressive mixed bag. It's buggy, boring, broken, but contains so much content, a mostly enjoyable multiplayer experience, and a world that you genuinely want to play in. It's certainly not the Assassin's Creed title I think we've all been waiting for, nor one that you really want to play on your shiny new consoles. But if there's one thing we can take away from all of this is Ubisoft surely won't fuck up the series like this again. So the score I'm giving the game is a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching this review. You can see the playthrough of the game here on my own channel. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. But that's it for this review, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!